There's one major reason why the no contact method is the best way to get your ex back. Hi guys, I'm Brad Branning, creator of the X Factor Guide, and in this brand new video available only on LoveLearnings TV, I'm going to dive deep into the mechanism behind the no contact method and tell you how you can use it to win back your ex starting right now. Now, I'll use real-world examples of relationships that were saved by the no contact method. For those of you who haven't watched any of my videos before, you're probably wondering what exactly the no contact method is. Well, essentially, no contact means keeping your distance from your ex immediately after the breakup for at least 30 days. That means no texts, no phone calls, no in-person hangouts. Now, it seems totally counterintuitive to most people. How can you get your ex back if you never talk to them? Well, let me explain just exactly why the no contact method should always be the first step you take if you want to win back your ex for good. No contact works on two main principles. The first is absence. No contact lets your ex see what their life is truly like without you. So instead of slowly fading from their life or being, pushed out, you've severed contact completely and left them to truly feel the absence. The longer that you two have been together, the more effective this principle is going to be. Now, keep watching for a real-world example of this. But before I go on, a quick disclaimer. Just so you know, all of these stories are shared with the consent of those involved, and the names and the details have been changed to protect the innocent. My coaching program is 100% confidential. Your ex never even has to know that you ever use my services. And you can go to breakupbrad.com/coaching to learn more about how to work with me one-on-one. Now, first, I'm going to tell you the story of my client Leah and her boyfriend Kevin. Now, Leah and Kevin had been together for 3 years, and things were starting to get serious. They decided to go on vacation together for the first time, a road trip through the American Southwest. Now, the trip was supposed to last 2 weeks. The first day in the car was peaceful. They watched the landscape change from mountain to desert and even talked about their future together. The second day, things were more tense. They couldn't agree on what music to listen to, and they fought about who would drive. By day 3, the trip was in full meltdown. The car was filled with an icy silence that spoke volumes about their relationship. And that night, Kevin told Leah that he couldn't do this anymore. He was done with this trip, and he was done with their relationship. After some more fighting and name-calling, Kevin purchased a ticket and flew home the next morning. Leah was crushed. So how did their special trip turn into the end of what had been the best relationship of her life to that point? Well, don't worry, it's what happens next that changed everything. Instead of going home, Leah kept going. She drove straight on through Arizona and made it to New Mexico. And when she made it to the Carlsbad Caverns, the texts started pouring in. At first, it was just to let Leah know that Kevin had made it home. Then he wanted to talk. He said he just wanted to hear her voice. And what did Leah do? Well, she turned off her phone and continued on with the trip. She saw the Grand Canyon and then the Salt Lake. And when she pulled into her driveway at the end of the 2 weeks, she felt rested, refreshed, and guess what? Kevin was waiting there with a bouquet of lilies, her favorite flower. So what exactly happened? How did Leah completely win Kevin back by simply ignoring him? Well, Kevin explained that when he returned home without Leah, his life felt so empty. Everywhere he went, everything he did, it all reminded him of her. Every time he texted her and she didn't respond, he felt so alone. And he soon realized what his life was like without Leah in it, and he knew that he couldn't live without her. So thanks to this wake-up call, Kevin and Leah were able to work through their issues, and I'm happy to report that they recently celebrated 2 years of marriage. Yes, I'm dead serious. Now, this is the principle of absence in action. It was one thing for Kevin to want space from Leah, but it was another for him to actually see it play out. He was forced to really understand what their breakup would mean for his life going forward, and he didn't like it. So now let's imagine if, instead of following the no contact method, Leah had returned home with Kevin and spent the time arguing or trying to convince him to take her back. Things probably would have turned out quite differently. Kevin would never have come to appreciate all the good that Leah brought to his life. And instead, he would have spent time building new negative memories of their time together, and they would have both ended up alone. Now, if that sounds familiar, if you feel like you're losing your ex, go to breakupbrad.com right now to learn all about the X Factor Guide. It's the #1 tool for people in your situation. Not only do I teach you how and when to end no contact, I also provide you with tried and tested methods that will make them completely change their tune and come running back to you. Again, just go to breakupbrad.com to watch my free tutorial video and grab a copy of the X Factor program. Now, we're going to talk about another way that no contact works. Now, this is information that I've never shared on YouTube, so keep watching if you want the inside scoop on the second powerful mechanism behind no contact. I call it denial of closure. So every time you contact your ex after your breakup, you're giving them a chance at closure. Closure is that moment when you finally close the book on a relationship and you begin moving on. And you may think that your constant text messages, begging and pleading is preventing them from moving on, but it's actually having the opposite effect. Every time you reach out post-breakup, you're giving them another chance to say no to you and to put the relationship behind them. By refusing to engage with your ex, you're denying them this closure, meaning that the relationship is still ongoing in their subconscious mind. And this lack of closure is one of the things that will draw your ex back like a magnet. So let me quickly tell you the story of Colin and Kim. Now, Colin was one of my clients way back in the early days when I was a breakup coach, and he'd been with his girlfriend Kim for 6 years. And one day he came home to find her packing her bags. She said that things just weren't working out and that she was going to go and stay with her parents for a while until she could make her own plans to move out on her own. And Colin couldn't believe it. He begged her to stay and tried to work things out, but her mind was made up. After she was gone, he called her every day for a week and left long, rambling messages for her and got nothing back. He sent flowers to her work and even a singing telegram. Serious. And when Colin was out of ideas, he came across one of my videos here on YouTube. He went to breakupbrad.com/coaching and he signed up for my one-on-one email coaching service, and then we started talking. When I told him that he needed to completely change his approach, he was dumbfounded. I said to him, if you really want Kim back, stop calling, stop texting, and get on with your life. He said I was crazy, but he was out of options, so he decided to follow the no contact method anyway. A week passed, and then another. And he contacted me several times, telling me that he just wanted to call her once, just to hear her voice. I said, no, if you want Kim back, you need to be strong. And wouldn't you know it, after 2 more weeks of no contact, Kim showed up at his door with tears in her eyes. She said that she'd made a huge mistake in ending things and that she wanted him back. She said that she felt like she had an itch that she couldn't scratch, and that no matter how hard she tried to forget about Colin and move on, she just couldn't do it. And that itch that she felt is the lack of closure that the no contact method creates. So by denying her that closure, Colin guaranteed that she wouldn't be able to just forget about the relationship and move on, and ultimately that's what brought her back to him in the end. So there you have it, folks. These are the 2 ways that no contact practically guarantees success with your ex: absence and denial of closure. Thank you very much for checking out Love Learnings TV, your #1 source for new relationship advice every single week. Please don't forget to check out breakupbrad.com and also like this video and subscribe to our channel here so we can keep bringing out new videos like this one regularly. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.